What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to JWE Screenshots for another Prehistoric Kingdom Let's Build video. It is so good to be back with you guys. It's been, oh my gosh, probably about a month since I made one of these videos. And since then, a lot has happened in my personal life. And we can touch on those things later. But, yeah, so this video is going to be mainly me going ahead and trying to round out the staff area of the park, so where the veterinarians go, where the scientists go, where everybody goes to do their work in the park, and then also putting in the first major herbivore enclosure into the park as well, with my favorite dinosaur, the all-time GOAT, the Parasaurolophus, and then eventually I'll put some Styracosaurus in there as well, but not in this video because it got to be a little bit too long. But yeah, so this is just kind of flushing out the innards of the park, I guess, the operation of it all. I'm trying to find a good veterinarian facility to use. Now, these are all ones that you can download from the workshop. People are able to make some really awesome things with what they're given. I think it's so cool that you can go inside of your buildings and your vet labs and stuff and see what they look like on the inside, and you can really flesh out everything in a way that lets you make and be even more creative than Jurassic World Evolution 3 with your designs and your stores and your museums and everything like that. Like, they actually serve a purpose in this game, which is really, really cool. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with this part of the park. I didn't know if I wanted to put like a dinosaur habitat or another prehistoric species habitat in front of this area right here. But I kind of decided that I wanted it to be its own thing. Kind of like the staff-only side of the park. Like, you're not going anywhere past this point. So I do end up putting a nice ritzy-ditzy fancy restaurant right there in that space. And I think it ends up looking pretty good. I don't do much with it after that fact. I kind of just leave it there, but I'm going to put some more scenery around it eventually. This was even something that I was planning on doing in this video. It just was starting to bother me that the staff area wasn't looking more fully fledged out, and it needs a lot more work, but just to give it some sort of character so that it fits in with the game and with the park. So there are a couple cool fancy restaurants that you can find on the workshop. I went through a couple of them here. I couldn't really tell which one I wanted, and then I saw this one, the Fossil, the upscale restaurant. I'm like, yes, this fits perfectly over here on this side and matches the theme of kind of the entrance of the park, with that kind of white marble looking, or white concrete. I don't really know what that is, but it's nice, and it kind of matches the aesthetic of this part. So, you know, who doesn't want to go to a nice fancy restaurant on the water? Now here's where the most meat of the video is, and it's me building the herbivore habitat, this Parasaurolophus and Styracosaurus habitat. I was originally just going to put the Parasaurolophus in there, but then I wanted to add another dinosaur to make it a little bit more dynamic. So yeah. There's going to be a lot of rock placing, so if you can get around that, but understand that it's necessary to make this look somewhat decent in my brain. It's a lot, but it does work out for itself in the end. Now, if it was a perfect world, I think I would have put cascading waterfalls down that entire back portion of the habitat that's up against the river there. I really wanted to do that, but I just didn't want to take the time to do it. So I'm gonna kind of work my magic with what I have right now, and then I come to find out later on in the video, and I'm bummed that I didn't even realize this, because I just don't know that much about this game compared to other games. I played it for 150 hours, but there's still things that I'm discovering, especially with building, because I spent so much time making videos and taking screenshots of just the dinosaurs and the other prehistoric animals just living their lives. Didn't really take the time to build anything. But you're actually able to change the color of your rock structures. So like you can click on the rocks and that'll change the color to match like a biome. So like there's like a wetland one and then a desert one. And I didn't know that you could do that. I was always thought that it was stuck on one set of rocks, that you couldn't change, the way that they looked. So discovering that for the first time was pretty cool, especially, when you're trying to make all of this design work in your brain, and it's becoming harder and harder to make because you can't kind of figure out what you want to put in the habitat. Can be a little frustrating, but that's kind of why I like to come into these kinds of things with somewhat of a plan. But for this video, I didn't come into anything with a plan. This is just kind of all out of my brain all at once. I figured this would be a perfect time to talk about some of the changes that have happened in my life within the last month or so. Now, for those who don't know, I have recently accepted a job offer in Hawaii, on the big island of Hawaii. Which I'm very excited to make that my new home. I actually moved there in, oh my gosh, about a month and 10 or so days. So I'm very, very excited, but very nervous for this move. So if the channel is a little dim going into March and April, don't get too worried. It's just because things are taking their course and I'm taking my time to make sure that I do everything that I need to do to make sure that this move goes to plan. Now, the job that I accepted is a full-time dolphin training job at a facility on the Big Island. For safety purposes, I'll keep it at that, but yeah, if you guys didn't know, I, for the last 2.5 years, have worked with sea lions, seals, otters, penguins, manatees, dolphins, macaws, lorikeets, so many different animal species, and I've lived in some pretty cool places. And I thought that I was, done with the zoological field. There is a lot about the field that people don't understand, and I feel like I can make an entire video just kind of going off of those things, of all the things that people, think that it's all about playing with animals and this and that, but it really isn't. That's probably about 2 or 3% of our days that we actually get to spend, actually playing and engaging with our animals. Training sessions are important, of course. Husbandry sessions are incredibly important, but we really don't play with our animals. We take care of them. We care for them. We are their caretakers, and we are extremely overworked and underpaid, and I feel for all of us in the field, but I'm very excited because this is a different opportunity for me, a much better opportunity for me, and it actually pays very well, and I get to live in paradise for a little while. Whether a little while be a year, 2 years, 3 years, the rest of my life, I really hope so. But yeah. One thing that I've been noticing that's been helping me a lot, especially building in this game, is laying out fences where you want the borders of something to go. So even if you know that you don't want a fence somewhere, just putting it there to help you kind of use your mind and your imagination to make the border as natural as possible. And I'm not going to show it in this video, but this entire fence ends up kind of going away in the next one. And I do that to make it look as naturalistic as possible. Replacing it with this part of the fence with a window fence that allows guests to walk up right alongside the edge of the environment there. And then I also wanted to give just kind of like a simple lookout, and I'm probably going to add another one at some point to kind of round everything out, maybe like a more elevated one. But just for now, I wanted to have something that the guests could use so that they would actually explore this part of the park that's really just not been built really at all. You know, as I watch this video back, I kind of wish that I would have taken this path over the edge of the environment, kind of like a walking elevated structure. And now that I think about it, I might have to go back and fix it or do something different. But this is just kind of, yeah, a rough draft of everything, because knowing how my mind works, I'm gonna go back and change things a million times before I'm fully satisfied. And there's things in these videos that are not big changes, but they're just small little things that I'm not going to really touch on, just to kind of add to the aura of the park, I guess you could say. And as I was kind of working my way around the build here, trying to kind of make it as uniform as possible, I just can't get over how unrealistic the cliff edges look. And it's not the game's fault necessarily, it's just kind of my lack of creativity. So I decided to do what I'm known to do and put rocks literally everywhere. These massive boulders that I think adds so much depth to the environment, and not just, you know, using the environmental tools, but actually using structures to make it a little bit more believable that this is kind of like a crater. Now this is the spot that I was talking about with the rocks situation. I found these massive boulders in some of the workshop files that I had downloaded, and I'm like, you know what? Let's just go all out with this and make it look as good as I possibly can, especially this first go around. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a bunch of them, or try to put a bunch of them, on the edge of this environment here, this kind of cliff face. And like I said, if it was a perfect world and I could put waterfalls on every cascading side, I think I'd be very happy, but I don't hate the way that it looks at the end of the day. I think it looks okay. dying animal. Looks like one of our Dinokairos got out. Gonna go ahead and put him back in his little habitat, make sure that he gets what he needs to eat. He looks a little confused at the moment, but there is a whole tray of fish right there waiting for him. He is happy now. I can confirm. Very happy boy. Now for the really fun part, which is actually making the dinosaurs themselves. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop in a couple of Parasaurolophus into this new habitat that I built for them. And I think, if I remember right, it's mating season for them, so they go into mating mode immediately after putting them in there. I think I actually glitched it a little bit though, I'm not sure how that happened, but I had to move them with my mouse to make it so that they weren't stuck on like an infinite mating loop. You know, it's an early access game. Those kinds of bugs are going to happen with the game. And luckily with this one, compared to the Jurassic World Evolution 3, where you have to, you know, tranquilize and sedate a dinosaur and move it with that, or with the cargo transport, this game allows you just to kind of pick them up and move them with your mouse, with your pointer, which is super nice. And makes for some amazing screenshot capturing, because the dinosaurs will lock themselves in the animation that they're in. So if you would like to, you know, make a perfect portrait of a certain, you know, dinosaur paleo art painting or something, you're able to do that in this game if you really work hard at it. But it's possible. I mean, the game itself is paleo art in itself. Well, I said that twice, but yes, it is definitely paleo art. And if you can get the angles right, you know, get the depth of field right, you really can make some magical pictures with this game. And it's only going to get better as they add more graphical options to the game and make the water quality better. There's a lot more to come in that regard, so it's pretty exciting to know that. I mean, this game continues to look better with each and every passing update. And it also runs a little bit better as well. I know that there are people out there that struggle with running it, and I completely hear you. You do need to have kind of a beefy setup in order to run it successfully. There's going to probably be a point in this park build, if I decide to make it as big as I want it to make it, that I might have to lower the resolution to 2K instead of 4K. I'm playing in 4K right now. I don't know if all my settings are maxed currently. They might not be necessarily. I usually max them out when I'm just taking screenshots, because it doesn't matter, you know, necessarily what the frame rate is as long as I can get the picture that I'm looking for. Now here is the kind of breeding infinite loop that I'm talking about. I'm like watching them and I'm like, they are continuing to do this. What is going on here? While I'm trying to look for a nest for them and I can't find it even though I scrolled right past it. So I'm going to go ahead and place a couple here because it'd be so cool to have little baby Parasaurolophus running around. Did I say that right? Parasaurolophus? I don't know. Running around the park. So yes, I had to move them a little bit and they kind of need to reset themselves here. But I do believe that we are going to see a little bit of action here in a second. And not, you know, your Sims 4 action, but your Prehistoric Kingdom action. The way that they smack their, you know, their duckbill together is so funny to me. But it's also like incredibly realistic to think that they probably would use that as a form of communication. On top of that massive, you know, structure on the top of their head. I feel like in a lot of these videos I don't highlight gameplay enough, and what I mean by that is I don't spend enough time, you know, focusing on the dinosaurs' lives and the mechanics of their part in the game, because their part in the game is really big, just as much as it is building and making your park, but they actually have pretty realistic behaviors. So like for example right here, it looks a little bugged right now, I'm not sure what's going on, but the dinosaurs in the game, when you place a nest down, they will go through their mating period, which is at certain times throughout the year. And it's only at those certain times throughout the year they will do a courtship display of some kind. For some dinosaurs, it's as simple as just roaring or, you know, grunting at each other, but for some it's more of like a dance display. So they will do that, and then the female will go look for a nest, and what you just saw is the female finding her nest and kind of claiming it as her own. In a little bit she's going to go ahead and lay her eggs in that nest. But for right now, she keeps a good eye on it by guarding it and rubbing her body all over the ground, as you can see. But the dinosaurs themselves, they take an active role in protecting their nests. So, you know, that's a big 180 from Jurassic World Evolution 3, where the dinosaur just backs its rear end up into it like a 40-wheel truck and deposits its eggs and then walks away. This is a lot more of a interesting game in the fact of how dynamic it is when it comes to that kind of stuff. You know, the dinosaurs, they'll guard their nests. They will try to defend it using their threatened displays that will eventually become dinosaur combat, which is extremely exciting to have in this game. It is coming in the next update, update 17. Which doesn't look to launch until the summertime, but it is a huge, massive update, and it's giving all of the dinosaurs combat animations as well as hunting animations, and that's very, very exciting. And I can't wait to share that stuff with you guys as it comes. I'm a Patreon member, and they are working on some really incredible stuff right now. And yeah, you guys should be very excited for it, because it's definitely putting other dinosaur games to shame in simply the fact that it is an indie game. But yeah, this is gonna wrap up this episode. I'm gonna wrap it up with a nice little view of everything that we worked on. There is much more to come, so look forward to sharing that with you guys. Thank you, take care.